Throughout the history of the world, great teachers have made a lasting impact on the lives and the hearts of their students. All of us can recall a certain teacher, a very special someone who inspired us to learn and pushed us to grow and to be better. The importance of teachers in society cannot be underestimated. They take on the great responsibility of shaping minds and changing lives for the better. This program is a tribute to and for teachers and celebrates the special and often heroic role they play in the lives of students every day. This program presents some extraordinary men and women whose timeless wisdom echoes the strength, character, and passion of educators all across our district and across our great nation. This program is, in our small way, an opportunity to say thank you to those who educate, encourage, empower, and inspire the students of our world, those who take a hand, open a mind, and shape a heart. Teachers here in St. Lucie Public Schools. And we're delighted to welcome at this time Miss Megan Schwenger, who's the fantastic Teacher of the Year at Mosaic Digital Academy. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
She's brought along the proud principal, Mrs. Jean Zimba, with her as well, and we thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Schwenger, let's jump right in by saying, why did you choose teaching as a profession?
It was actually a very difficult choice for me at first. Coming out of high school and into college, and you're trying to navigate everything and make that decision. And I really didn't know when I went to the University of Florida what I wanted to do. And I remember just trying to figure things out. I remember crying on the floor in the hallway, talking to my dad as I was figuring out that what I really wanted to do was work with kids. I loved being around the kids, and I loved working with others. And he helped remind me that teachers really do put forth a lot of energy and help shape everything else and help the world grow. And around the same time, I was talking with another family, and that was a family of educators actually from St. Lucie County, and I just learned how much they enjoyed teaching and had the passion, and so it really influenced me to follow that path.
So as you reflect on your time as a teacher, do you think that there's a special someone, a special teacher that inspired you, or that you may imitate as you deliver instruction to students every day?
I think back a lot to my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. True. She was very interactive, very hands-on, and she really had us learning without realizing we were learning. It was just fun and engaging, and we were all excited to be there every day. So that's who I think back to the most often, yeah.
So thank you, Ms. True. We appreciate you bringing us this dynamic Teacher of the Year. So Ms. Zimba, you have the opportunity to watch the magic happen every time you watch her with her students. Tell us what you see, what you hear, and or what you feel.
Oh my goodness, I love it when I hear positivity. You know, with a virtual setting, we need to really kind of push through that little box that's on that student's desk at home or wherever they are, and let them know that we're people on the other side. And so when I watch Megan teaching, I see that enthusiasm. I see this teacher that really wants to get to know the individual students out in those boxes, and it's just wonderful to be able to see how she gets those students engaged and excited about learning and about seeing her face in the other box. So it's actually kind of fun to see.
Yeah, that's really cool to want to get to know them beyond the box where they're sitting there, and just to peep closer into their minds. Describe her then, since she has such an extraordinary role getting through the box, with 3 adjectives, and tell us why, those 3.
This is going to be a hard one, because this is definitely a very dynamic teacher. This is very enthusiastic. This is number 1, that's the adjective that I would say. She's very enthusiastic. She's innovative. She's able to get first graders in their homes to be excited and responding to questions in so many different ways, not just hitting their mic, but also responding in polls and responding with their hand gestures, and it's just absolutely encouraging for me to see how much they're enjoying their teacher and their class, despite them being virtual. So I did say enthusiastic, I did say innovative, and I would absolutely be remiss in saying that she is the most caring person that I've seen as a teacher. So wonderful to have a very caring teacher to be able to support families out there that are choosing full-time virtual.
So, Ms. Schwenger, let me ask, how do you get past the box to make that connection with those first graders? And I know I asked a question, but they can be kind of antsy, they can be kind of tuned out, and they're in their home. So what's your magic?
They can be all over, and there's different strategies for different students. But it's really just getting to know them and getting them to talk about themselves, because that's a really big thing for them. They want to share, they want to get to know everybody and make friends. So that's a big thing. And then finding ways to keep them engaged, whether it's doing what we use as a waterfall feature. So they get to post things either in the chat box or holding up a screen. So the interaction helps them a lot with getting to know them as well. We use Padlet, and we have them include each other in their things, so it gets that sense of community in the classroom, and they don't feel alone in that box, so they're reaching out through it.
When did you fall in love with teaching?
When did I fall in love with teaching? That's a tough one. I started to follow that passion when I started the education, started studying education at University of Florida. I got my master's there, and we had to choose an area of the specialization when we chose our master's, and I specifically chose technology. Didn't know that it would lead me here one day. But I did like a digital kids tech camp, and I absolutely loved getting in there with the kids and helping them create like different video games and animations and things like that. And then I saw them like light up as they were learning. That was that same feeling that I had when I spoke about Mrs. True a few minutes ago. Just that love of learning, where they were learning a ton, and not just the technology pieces. They were learning the science concepts and the programming concepts as they were making their video games and the coding. So I just loved seeing them learn and not knowing what they were learning at the time.
So when you think about your journey and where you are today, and even being chosen as a teacher of the year to represent your school, what's your fuel? What drives you?
Seeing the kids proud of their work and proud of their learning and proud of what they've accomplished. And that could be something big, like a big accomplishment, a big project, but it could also be something small. Like my younger student who was really struggling to get his letters, and he couldn't work through all of his letters, but he kept pushing through, and the time that he got all of his letters and sounds, just the way he lit up and the whole room brightened up when he got each sound. And just that moment, I just love that moment.
Ms. Zimba, what makes Mrs. Schwenger the perfect candidate for this honor?
Oh my goodness, she really is the shining example of what you would want for students to be able to experience every single day. This is a smiling, caring, wonderful, talented educator who really, really wants to be impactful for her students. She's super collaborative with her peers as well, and giving her peers, her colleagues, the expertise that she has, especially with the technology that she's shared. She's very, very innovative, and that's what really we need more innovative teachers, people thinking outside of the box and being able to bring that innovation to allow their students to be creative. And that, I mean that in the sense of creating content that's quality content that's their own. And so we've talked about this quite a bit, about how important it is for our students to be creators of content and be proud of the work that they create and know that their unique content is theirs, and that's super important. So,
Ms. Schwenger, with all that you know, all the places you've been, thinking outside of the box, as Ms. Zimba said, to reach inside the box, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing education today?
I think sometimes it's helping students realize that they can get through the barriers and how to get through the barriers. Looking at different ways to get around. Okay, even today, I had a student who was messaging me because they didn't have a magazine to cut out the pictures for the assignment, but then helping them come up with creative other solutions, whether it could be like a food box or something that has a plant on it, or whether it could be something else, and helping them get creative with their drawings and thinking, and finding ways to make it work for them, and helping them find those ways too, like helping them so when they grow up to be adults, they aren't afraid to make mistakes. They aren't afraid to ask for help. They're able to learn from those mistakes and grow. And
so here's my final question to you. You are the ambassador for education at Mosaic Digital. Their spokesperson, their representative. Have an opportunity to speak to many people about education, all that's right, all that's good, the needs. What's your message?
My message is just don't give up. You have to keep trying. You have to find that way to reach every student, to help them grow, to help them be successful in their own way and find their own light and what helps them shine.
Elizabeth Andrews said this: good teaching comes not from behind the desk, behind the box, the computer, but from behind the heart. Thank you for sharing your heart with the awesome students at Mosaic that you're reaching. Ms. Zimba, thank you for joining us. It is an honor for us to have this opportunity to celebrate you, and congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year for Mosaic Digital.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to saving money,
What?
don't act like a baby.
Oh, it's like they're having their own little meeting. This is so humiliating.
Be the boss
I'm the boss.
What the?
Power nap. You were saying.
and make a budget.
Let's get to work.
Need a little help?
Stacy, read back the notes.
I can't read. What's it say?
Create a personalized savings plan and get other tools and tips
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
at feedthepig.org.
We're excited to welcome to our Teacher of the Year celebration show, the dynamic Miss Nikki Demaio. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you and to celebrate you with this honor today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
The proud principal of Treasure Coast High School, Mr. Todd Smith, is also joining us. Mr. Smith, welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Mr. Mayo, I like to tell everyone when we talk to them that this is really an exciting show for us all because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate teachers and teaching.
Yes.
It also gives us the opportunity to introduce to many of our viewers the dynamic teachers that we have and those that represent the many that we have working here in St. Lucie Public Schools.
That's wonderful.
So with that, I'm going to ask if you would briefly introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
I am Nikki Demaio. I am teaching at Treasure Coast High School. I am from Jersey, New Jersey. I did my undergraduate work at William Patterson University with a degree in education and history. And then I have done my master's work from Capella University with a focus on curriculum and instruction. And I've been teaching for about 30 years. I mean, do we want to do that math? But it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's close enough.
And it's been a pleasure every day that I've been in the classroom.
Totally awesome. Mr. Smith, would you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yep. My name's Todd Smith, the principal of Treasure Coast High School. I've been in education for about 30 years. Like Ms. Demaio, I graduated from St. Lawrence University, upstate New York. I'm from New York, and received my master's degree from Nova Southeastern.
So, Mr. Mayo,
Yes.
why did you choose teaching as a profession?
So I was inspired by a fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Rachael, that I had. And that was the first time that I felt inspired in a room outside of my family unit. And as I paid attention as I went through school, I just found the teachers to be inspiring in the work that they did and the passion that they had. And I saw a path for myself in creating, a similar place and a similar role and having a similar function, that I saw those professional men and women in my experience.
You mentioned Ms. Rucker, and that was going to be my second question. Is there anyone that inspired you? Tell us a little bit more about how she inspired you at such an early age, and if you're using any of her methods to teach your students.
So Mrs. Rachael was pretty strict. However, she had a way of being very inclusive. She had a way of speaking to us that was different from my previous classes, primary, elementary. And I felt that it was a transitional year where she was just really trying to get us to work beyond, ourselves. And I really felt like I came out of my shell, socially and emotionally at that period of time. And I still, to this day, can remember her teaching at the board, and she just had beautiful handwriting. She taught me how to write in cursive, and I just, I felt that connection.
Tell us the subjects that you teach and what your day is like.
So I am the Global Perspectives teacher at Treasure Coast High School. It is the capstone course for the ACE diploma. So when the students take 6 of the classes, the 7th class that the students take in that program is the Global Perspectives class, which is the class where they take all of the knowledge from the classes that they have taken in the diploma, and they work independently on 2 separate projects. The one project is based on a problem and a solution on a local level. And the second one is more of a theoretical paper with posing a question that they're curious about that has no distinct answer. And what I do during the day is I play devil's advocate. I challenge them in their beliefs, I challenge them in their perceptions, I get them to expand their thinking beyond what they think they know about what they think they know, and they come to new realities and new understandings on their own. And so my day is simply moving amongst and between and through them and ricocheting ideas and questions not from one student but amongst all of them.
So you're the person that asks a question, kids give you an answer, and you ask another question, followed by another question.
I just keep asking, what do you think? What do you think? And because now you have this piece of information, how does that change what you thought you knew? And so it is the building block in their own minds, on their own beliefs and their own understandings. And we don't deal in that particular course, we don't deal in right and wrong. We deal in expansion and understanding.
Mr. Smith, you have an opportunity to witness the dynamic classroom with Ms. Demaio every day. What is it that you see, hear, and or feel when you visit?
Well, it's interesting because when we visit Ms. Demaio's class, we're classically trained as administrators to walk in and to be an observer, to blend in with the classroom, to be like an umpire during a baseball game. That's not possible in Ms. Demaio's classroom, because when you walk into that classroom, you're an active participant and a willing participant. When you sit down in that classroom, she says, what do you think? Whereas administrators, we say, why? So a 5-minute conversation with her students turns into a 90-minute block with an administrator sitting in there, like, what did we code, what did we learn? And we look at the students who said, what do you think? And they smile and they said, what's your why? What matters to you? And they explained it to us. So it's an open-ended conversation where the most reluctant learners actively participate and feel comfortable. The barriers that are projected by hard exteriors of our students are broken down because they have a voice, they use their voice, and people listen to them. So it's exciting.
So, because you have the opportunity to witness the magic happen every day, describe her for us using 3 adjectives and tell us why those 3.
And obviously it's dynamic because you walk in their classroom, it's free-flowing. The word authentic comes to the forefront because people talk about authenticity, but you establish it and you feel it in her classroom. The other word we look at is passion. You can't fake passion. You can't fake the ability to interact with every student regardless of the race, regardless of the social economic background, regardless where they are in that point in the day, because they feel comfortable to respond. The last word would be probably courageous, because she's willing to ask the students and challenge the students to express their opinions and not know the answer to the question as they respond to it. When you ask them to talk about their personal lives, talk about their feelings, talk about the what's happening in the world today, they freely share that.
Mr. Mayo, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I fell in love with teaching the first day that I walked into my first classroom.
Explain it to us.
So, you go through, those education classes and, you study all of those classes and, you think about the day that you have your own classroom. But, as Mr. Smith just said, there is an authenticity and a courage that's necessary to be in front of a room full of students, and to have them look at you with anticipation, you know, kind of puts you on edge. But then when you start that free fall, when you start that conversation, when you start that good morning, this is what we're going to be doing, it sort of takes off from there. And there is passion to it. There is an excitement. There's an unknown. For as well laid as your lesson plans may be, you never know where those students are going to want to take you. And it's important to follow their path, because that's their curiosity. That is what that intrinsic motivation is what I find so dynamic in a classroom. And once I realized that it wasn't about me, that it was really about them, then I just get caught up in it. And that's when you fall in love. Sure, absolutely, you fall in love.
So how has your role as educator changed in the last 3, 4, 5 years?
So, you know, we did have some challenges with COVID, and the dynamics of the classroom have certainly changed. But what has also come out of it is students really now being affected by world events and looking for the school to provide direction and support and guidance and safety. And my role has really expanded to help them with their social and emotional learning. It's not just about finishing the course and getting the diploma. It is much more dynamic. You know, I am a piece of their day. I am a 90-minute block of every other day, but it is a constant for them. And I always think, what is their experience about, and what are their needs, whether it's distant learning or in-person learning, or how the dynamics have changed within, you know, how we view education. And I think you just got to stay on your toes. I think you have to be creative. I think you have to be innovative. I think you have to constantly check where the students are, and you know, it's student-centered. They always teach me how to teach them.
With all that you know and all that you have experienced, and knowing that constant is change, what inspires you to go back every day and do the work that you do? What inspires you as an educator?
Oh, the kids. They're just fun. They're great to be around. They're encouraging, they're inspiring, they're funny, they're sincere, they're trustworthy, but they're curious. They want people to care about them and be part of their journey, you know, aside from their independent families. You know, this is the only place that they have where they go and learn their identities. You know, we come to work and it's work for us, but for them, it's their life. For them, it is social, it is emotional, it is fundamental for them. This is where they go every day. And there's meaning to it, and there's purpose for them. And that's what's inspiring, that to be included in their lives and to be part of what is important to them. That's inspiring. It's important work. And it makes me feel good that I'm part of it.
Mr. Smith, what makes Ms. Demaio the perfect candidate for this honor?
She's able to put children first, and it's almost like a disguised learning in her classroom, because the kids they're sitting there and they're learning the communication skills, the ability to discuss key points, to listen to someone's other perspective and respect that perspective, and then come out with a productive outcome that they're able to apply across all settings, across all, you know, everywhere they may lead to. And it's clearly evident in her work that she's done with the Youth Advisory Council as representative for the teacher representative for the Advisory Council. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayo, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing education today?
I think the greatest challenge facing education today is perhaps maybe the discrepancies in educational delivery. And you know, every student is born with talent, but not every student is born with the right opportunities. And I think that in public education specifically, you know, we need to find a level playing field where we can have equitable distribution of opportunities. And that is a very daunting task. That is, it is very expansive. And, I don't know if it's not an easy fix. But because the world is changing so much, the world of education needs to change to keep up with it. And there's a lot of moving parts in the world of education, and I think the challenge is, not that we don't have a clear focus, but that there is an abundant need with different students and different, different types of groups of people that come to public education for that level playing field. And it's just a matter of including all of them and finding the right resources and the right answers to be able to get every student to their yes.
As the Teacher of the Year for Treasure Coast High School, you are the spokesperson, representative, ambassador for the profession. You're the prime person, and you will have the opportunity to speak to many decision makers about what it is that we love and what we do.
Yeah.
What's your message?
My message would be that, like I said before, all students are born with talent. And I think that it takes compassionate, loving, open, courageous arms of educators to see that in each one of our students and to provide them the opportunities and the pathways to success and greatness. And it's not my definition of success and greatness, it's theirs. And I think we need to listen to those students and to open up the doors that they are knocking on. We're the grown-ups. It's our job to clear the pathways for them and then stand to the side and cheer them on as they run past us.
Mark Van Doren said, "The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery." It's evident that that's what you're doing every day when you're posing question after question to your students and helping them expand their world. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you very
so much.
much.
Mr. Smith, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you, Dr.
Mr.
Perry.
Mayo, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year.
Thank you very much.
And it is a pleasure to celebrate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sweetheart, think about your future. Jeff over there did, and just look at him. He saved up, bought a house, he's got a beautiful wife. They even had a fancy pants destination wedding, and oh, they had a baby! Ah! Smart and handsome, ooh la la. Now, I've been saving these frames for pictures of my future grandbabies for years, and the shopping sprees on organic clothing and telephone cases is not helping you save for a family. Oh, gracious! Look at that! He's a model! Oh. I bet you he's putting all that money right into a 401k or his baby's college fund. And his teeth are so straight. See how good saving can look at feedthepig.org. Feed the pig.
Please join us in welcoming to our show the wonderful Miss Rachael Lowe, who's the Teacher of the Year for Fairlawn Elementary School. Miss Lowe, welcome.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to see you. Pleasure to have you on your show. She's brought along with her the dynamic principal for Fairlawn, Ms. Heather Ricksecker. Ms. Ricksecker, welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies, this is a special time for us as we get the honor of filming this show that celebrates teaching and teachers, the profession that we all love so dear in St. Lucie County. So Ms. Lowe, we'll start by asking that you introduce yourself briefly to our viewers.
Sure. My name is Rachael Lowe. I am a school counselor at Fairlawn Elementary, and this is my 4th year in the position. Fairlawn's a very special place to me because it's the school I went to as a child, so it's very sweet to be back.
So you said Fairlawn is the school that you went to as a child. Does that mean you're homegrown?
Yes.
Did you graduate from high school in St. Lucie County?
I did. I am a product of St. Lucie County. I graduated in 2011 from Lincoln Park, and then I moved on to the University of Florida for my graduate and undergraduate careers.
Cool. So go Greyhounds, right?
Yes,
Go
Greyhounds.
Ms. Ricksecker, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am also homegrown, graduated from Lincoln Park Academy a little earlier than Ms. Lowe, but then I too also went to the University of Florida, This is my 17th year in St. Lucie County and my 3rd as principal at Fairlawn.
Okay, so why did you choose education as a profession?
I knew I wanted to help students. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And when I started out my career at UF, I wasn't sure what I wanted to study or even major in. And so I was really looking for things that had to do with education. And I found my way into school counseling. And I really found in this position, there's so many different ways that you can help students and their families and our staff members. It's a really cool role that I'm in, where I can help students find their way.
So you were finding your way, always knowing that you wanted to help students. Is there someone, a teacher, maybe that inspired that need to want to help? And if so, talk to us about that.
Wow, that's a good question. There's so many. First off, my mom is a teacher in Lucie County, so she was a huge influence. She's been at Fairlawn for many years now, and I got to see her experience as a teacher, not only as her child, but when I come in to volunteer in the classroom. So she was very influential. Miss Donaldson, my 1st grade teacher. Miss Forbes, my 4th grade teacher. There's so many, I could list them all. Just the compassion they have for their students. I always felt very loved going to school, and that was the biggest part.
So what's your favorite part of being a counselor and being that helper with those students?
My favorite part is knowing that when students come to school, they have someone that they can talk to. They know that they're able to feel supported, whether it be in person, direct contact with myself, or with the counseling initiatives we started at the school. There's so many different ways that they're able to feel connected and as if they belong at Fairlawn. And that's really my favorite part.
So, Ms. Rennaker, give us a peek into the day of Rachael Lowe when she is doing the work of the school counselor at Fairlawn. What's it like? What do you witness?
I witnessed someone who's typically one of the first staff members on campus and usually one of the last ones off campus. I'm usually like, you need to go home, get some rest. You know, many students come and check in with her in the morning. She greets them, lets them know that they're going to have a great day. Do they need anything? She's always touching base with them. Throughout the day, she goes into different classrooms, presenting Safer, Smarter Kids. She runs social groups, lunch groups. There's just no end to her door being entered and exited by students, by staff, because our staff come to her and look to her as a support, social, emotionally, and just, you know, maybe to take a mint off the bowl and her table if needed. So from beginning to end, her day is extremely busy.
So give us a description of her with using 3 adjectives, please.
Dedicated would be my first, because she is just 100% Fairlawn every step of the way. Resourceful, she makes the most beautiful bulletin boards that really engage the students when they walk through the hallway or they're interactive. And passionate, she really does have a passion for making sure that the students and the staff feel loved and supported each and every day. She really tries to just make the kids feel the love that she has for them and for her job.
So, Ms. Lowe, what drives you? What's your fuel?
That's a good question. I think it's knowing that this is the job I was meant to have. It's hard to find those jobs in life, and I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. Just the fuel of knowing my students need me. I have the skill set that I'm able to help others with. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And just knowing that I have the skills that I can use to help other students and help other staff members, and that's really drives me, just knowing that I can do this and I can help others.
So, Ms. Rennaker, what makes Ms. Lowe the perfect candidate for this position?
I think just the all-around touches that she has on our campus. She's a part of so many committees that social emotional, sunshine, PBIS, she started a perk store. She's the perfect candidate because she really embodies what a teacher should be. And if she had her own classroom, everyone would want her to be their child's teacher, but she has the benefit of getting to touch the lives of all the children on our campus, and I think that is just something extra special.
Miss Lowe, when did you first fall in love with being a school counselor, the work that you do?
So that actually happened when I was doing my clinical experiences in my grad program. I was up at UF, and all of my professors told me, "You're gonna love elementary school." And I said, "No, I wanna be in high school. That's where I wanna be. I wanna help those students get ready to go to college." That was really my career, my end goal. I wanted to work with high school students. And then my first practicum experience was at elementary school, and I loved it. I had to tell my professors, "You were right." That was where I was supposed to be. That really showed me that's where the population I wanted to work with. I loved working with high school students, but elementary was where I found myself being the most confident. And then that helped kind of drive that love for education, just knowing that's where I was supposed to be.
So there are many challenges facing education and educators today. What do you see as the biggest challenge?
I know we've seen at our school just the impact of COVID on our students, especially in the terms of social emotional learning. For many of our students, especially our younger ones, they haven't really gotten the chance to practice those social skills with each other, just with the precautions we've been taking. So I think moving forward, one of the biggest challenges is just finding ways to incorporate more of the social emotional learning for our students. The impact of COVID, I feel like, is going to be far-reaching, but it's also given us opportunities to find new ways to support our students. We're able to create a social emotional learning classroom. We're able to find ways to really build those skills with the students. So there's opportunities for us to keep on growing.
As the Teacher of the Year for Fairlawn Elementary, you're automatically their ambassador. You're the person that we called on to share our story. What's your message?
That for our students, they are capable of so many things. They have the skills, they have the strengths to be successful. They have their own love that they can use moving forward with anything that they choose to do. We cultivate that at Fairlawn. We build that culture of support, and then it's a wonderful feeling knowing that our students are moving on with the skills as they move forward in life.
Let me leave you with the words of Scott Hayden when he said, "Teachers have three loves: love of learning, love of learners, and the love of bringing the first two together." And that's exactly what I hear you doing over at Fairlawn. Ms. Rennaker, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Ms. Lowe, congratulations on your selection as the
you.
Teacher of the Year for Fairlawn. It is a pleasure for us to be able to celebrate you. Job well done.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're excited at this time to welcome the awesome Miss Sandy Barnhart to our Teacher of the Year celebration show. Welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year at St. Lucie West K-8.
Thank you so much.
Joining her is the fantastic principal, Mr. Eldrick Gardner. Welcome to our show, Mr. G.
Pleased to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have both of you. I have to start off by saying to everyone, we get really excited about doing this show because it gives us a chance to share with our viewers education here in St. Lucie Public Schools. But it also gives us the opportunity to highlight and celebrate teaching and teachers. So with that, I'm going to ask Ms. Barnhart if you would just give our viewers just a little bit about your background.
My name is Sandy Barnhart. I've been a teacher in St. Lucie County since 2012. I began teaching at St. Lucie Elementary. where I was surrounded by a plethora of wonderful people teaching me standards-based instruction and data analysis, classroom management, all the good things that make a good teacher a good teacher. And since then, I began teaching at St. Lucie West, K-8. That was in the year of 2017. This is where I really gathered my love for leadership. I was the team leader and began as the new educator support team facilitator, where I have been in charge of a big portion of our induction plan at school. I'm also the social emotional learning committee facilitator. I have just received my master's in leadership, so I love my school and I love this school board.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Mr. Gardner, would you introduce yourself as well?
Yes. My name is Eldrick Gardner, and I'm the proud principal of St. Lucie West K-8 school. I have been the principal of St. Lucie West for 7 years and had the distinct pleasure of starting my teaching career at this very school. And some years later came back to assume the role of principal, and I am so pleased to be here to support Mrs. Barnhart.
Mrs. Barnhart, have you always known that you wanted to be an educator?
I have, in my lifetime, went back and forth. Teaching really called me early. Didn't know it at the time. I had a difficult time as a child, a difficult time learning, and I had a teacher that found me, found who I was, and really, without getting emotional and allowing myself to cry on TV, I just want to pay it forward from what she gave me.
So tell us about that teacher that inspired you and the work that you're doing.
Okay, it was in 7th grade, and she kind of held me by the hand and gave me confidence in learning. And as I went to high school, she then moved on to high school and was working in the library. So she asked me if I would like to work with her in the library during my study hall period. And we talked a lot about school, about ourselves, and about life. And then I started college to become a teacher. And lo and behold, I walked in, and my English professor, there she was.
All right.
Again. So all this time, she's really been kind
right
of
there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you like most, enjoy most about teaching?
Growth. Aspects of growth in students, in teachers, in parental information, growth in myself.
So, Mr. Gardner, you get an opportunity to watch the magic happen every day with Ms. Barnhart. Give us a peek into her room, and what do you see, feel, hear when you visit?
Whenever I have the opportunity to walk into Mrs. Barnhart's classroom, one of the things that you will find that it is evident from when you walk into the classroom is that consideration and care has been given to this environment. Students are engaged, they are having fun, and they are engaged in rigorous instructions. She includes accountable student talk, her interactive notebook. She places it on steroids, and we believe at St. Lucie West K-8 school that we don't think in words, we think in images. And she has adapted that model in her classroom. Her SEL lessons, and as she has already stated, she's the SEL facilitator. She models that for our school. So to go into our classroom, you will see an environment that has been constructed for learning.
Mr. Gardner, with all the things that we know that happen in Ms. Barnhart's classroom, you can paint a picture of her for us by giving us 3 adjectives that describe her, and tell us why those 3.
Well, you're going to limit me to 3, so
yes,
if
sir.
I had to select 3, they would be: she is compassionate, she is concise, and she is consistent. And when I think about her, compassionate nature that she brings to the classroom. This is where all students are valued, and the passion that she has for all students is demonstrated each child, each day. And when I think about her being concise, she alluded to her data analysis. She peeks into and peers into data to understand how it is best to suit the needs of children. And consistent, we can count on her, the students can count on her, Sharp Nation counts on her to be that consistent face, that consistent voice, the consistent champion for students day in and day out.
Ms. Barnhart, tell me, in your time at St. Lucie West K-8 and in the work that you do, what are you most proud of?
I think that going back to that growth, I love to share information with teachers. I love the collaboration. I love gathering the information from them. I'm proud of, finding best practices for our students in that collaboration and being able to connect everyone together as a community within our school.
When will you know, or how do you know that you are a success?
When I walk into school day in and day out, and my students are showing growth, and the students beyond my classroom are showing growth because of being able to provide information with the new teachers within the NEST program and through the SEL programs, and being able to see that kids are starting to feel a sense of belonging, and just all of the positivity.
Let me ask this, if I can. What drives you every day to do the work that you're doing? What's your fuel?
I love kids. I love watching everybody grow. Going back to that every second, I love learning. I love seeing other people learn. I love being with people.
Mr. Gardner, tell me, what makes Ms. Barnhart the perfect candidate for this honor?
Mrs. Barnhart is truly an ideal and the perfect candidate for the honor of Teacher of the Year. When I consider all the aspects of the campus life that she is involved in, she has served as a team leader. She has served as our social emotional learning liaison with the district. She serves as our new educator support team liaison facilitator. And there are other, she's been the cheerleading coach, and there are some other things I might not have mentioned that she finds herself in her hands in. As I stated before, she is compassionate, she's concise, and she is consistent. And those are attributes that I think anyone who represents the whole of St. Lucie County teachers should embody, and she does.
So, Ms. Barnhart, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing education today?
It always goes back to time. To mask that time, it's important that we are consistently setting goals, that we are consistently creating a timeline to get towards those goals, and always checking in to make sure that those, everything's going smoothly and that the goals are being met.
So, as the Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie West K-8, you automatically become their ambassador, their voice, their representative, their spokesperson. What's your message?
Always listen to the teachers, and listen to the students, and listen to the parents. The students are working very hard to close any gaps that might happen. The teachers are collaboratively planning to find best practices and to create rigorous lessons. They are differentiating and making sure that small group is happening, analyzing data. You know, it takes the parents, it takes the teachers, it takes the kids, it takes the community and everyone involved. And so just, you know, listening and coming together.
Brad Henry gave us these words. He said, a good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love for learning. Thank you for being the Teacher of the Year, for igniting hope and instilling a love for learning in all the students that you touch at St. Lucie West K-8. Ms. Garner, thank you for joining us. And Ms. Barnhart, congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year. It's an honor to be able to celebrate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Got a quarter?
We're excited to welcome to our show at this time Marianna Lewis, who's a dynamic, wonderful, awesome Teacher of the Year for St. Lucie West Centennial High School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
The very proud principal of St. Lucie West Centennial High School, our dear friend Andrea Popwell. We call her Pop. Pop, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having us.
It's a pleasure to have both of you. We are always excited about doing this show. Enthusiasm just bubbles up because this gives us a chance to celebrate, to honor, and recognize teaching and teachers, the profession that we've all chosen and the one that we love so very much. So with that, Ms. Lewis, I'll ask that you please introduce yourself to our viewers so that they'll get an insight into who this dynamic Teacher of the Year is.
Okay. Well, obviously my name is Marianna Lewis, and I am actually a product of the St. Lucie County Public School System. I graduated from Fort Pierce Central High School. I graduated from the University of Central Florida with an English literature degree and had every intention of furthering my education from that point, but life happens, and that's where I ended that, and I came back to St. Lucie County, where I
been here ever since?
I've been here ever since.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching has to be the students, and I have taught for almost 28 years, so I've seen a lot of different students and changes in students over the years where, you know, not one student is the same, not one is alike, and I think that's my favorite part of teaching is, you know, being with the students, and when something connects, seeing that sparkle in their eye that says, oh, I understand, I've got it. And, you know, I had something to do with that, and to see how they can be proud of themselves for achieving things that maybe they thought they couldn't.
So why did you choose teaching as a profession?
Funny story, I actually did not choose teaching as my profession. I came back to St. Lucie County, and I love telling this story. My mother worked at the district office, and she ran into a former teacher of mine who was the principal at Fort Pierce Central, and asked if she could see me the next day because she needed an English teacher. And so I went there on a Friday and got interviewed, got the job, and started the following Monday. So I was, you could say, thrown into teaching. However, teaching is in my blood. My grandmother taught in St. Lucie County for 40 years at every level from first grade up to college. And so, and I'd like to think that, you know, teaching is a part of who I am and how they raised me, because I was raised by a teacher, and my mother went to school to be an educator. Unfortunately, never got a chance to be in the classroom, but I come from a family of educators, and, you know, I kind of just, I fell into it. The first day, I wasn't so sure I would make it, and Mrs. Johnson, who was the principal at Central, was very supportive and went throughout my school day with me because I started in October, so there was a lot of substitutes in the classroom. And it was a little overwhelming, but with a lot of support, I did make it. And over the years that followed, fell in love with it.
So with that in mind, is there a certain someone or multiple groups of people that you think inspired how you deal with students and deliver your instruction every day?
Well, I think definitely that Mrs. Johnson, my first principal, did have some effect on me because she did show she showed a lot of support, and she helped me a lot through those bumps at the beginning, and was always there with an open door that I could go in and get that support. I also have my grandmother, who was crucial, who sometimes we would get in very interesting conversations because students back in the 1960s were a little bit different than the students in our generation. But you know, the basic dynamics of it is the same, you know, and she always surprised me when we would go out. She was 90 years old and we would be out at the store and she would see a former student and she could tell you exactly what grade she had them in, their name, and they always remembered her. And I kind of thought that was neat, and she shared a lot and helped me a lot with, you know, learning how to connect with students because she was very good at that. And my mother, who worked for the school system, she always wanted to be a teacher, and she was going through her education courses when I became a teacher. And she shared a lot of stuff with me because I didn't have the education background to help me be inspired. And whenever I get discouraged or think, you know, I can't do this anymore, or you know, this is hard, I always think about my mom because she would have given anything to just have 1 year in a classroom, and she didn't get that. So I kind of do it for her as well.
Cool. Cool. Ms. Potwell, you get to watch the magic happen every day. Give us a peek into the classroom of Ms. Lewis.
Ms. Lewis has a very innovative and creative classroom. She teaches gaming and simulation, so she likes to buy a lot of fancy toys for her students. She always gets me in trouble because they have the laptops that light up and have different colors and the funny keyboards and. Yeah, it's a great environment. It's a very welcoming and warm environment, and her kids have a lot of fun.
So describe her for me, please. 3 adjectives, only 3. Narrow it down, and then just tell us why you've selected those 3.
Definitely flexible. As I said, innovative and creative. She's been at the forefront of our CTE department. Definitely a trailblazer for us in all that she does to support our acceleration.
So, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I don't know that there was a defining moment when I fell in love with it, because when I first started teaching, I was very scared about it. I was very young, and the high school kids, most of them were bigger. So it was very discouraging at the beginning, but I think once I got through that in the first few years and got my bearings and decided who I was going to be as a teacher, then I got to start loving it. And I think I love it more every year, and as I'm approaching retirement age, I don't know how I'm going to live without it because it has become a part of me. It's a piece of who I am. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I'm always the teacher. I'm always, I always have that. If somebody sees me outside, I'm a teacher, 24/7. My grandmother taught me that. You know, you have to be always. And when you see those students out in public that you taught previous years, and they remember you. And thank you, Miss Lewis, for what you've done for me. Look at my family. Look at it makes you love it even more. And so I think I just continue to love it more and more every year. And it's, like I said, it's a part of who I am.
Well, what makes Ms. Lewis the perfect candidate for this honor?
She's really an all-around teacher. Not only is she a great teacher, but she mentors other teachers at St. Lucie West Centennial High School, and she also mentors other teachers at other high schools in St. Lucie County. She's our webmaster. She's on faculty council. She's on our attendance committee. She's on SAC. She's our CTE department chair. And she has tremendous numbers in regards to acceleration. As I shared before, we were just having a conversation. Since the inception of her program, she's tested over, what'd you say, 1,500?
1,500 students.
1,500 students with a 96% pass rate. So she is truly great at what she does each and every day.
So, Ms. Lewis, with all that you have seen in your 28 years, what do you recognize as the biggest challenge facing education today?
I think the biggest challenge is getting the young people on board for, replacing us veterans and, staying with it. I think that's a big challenge, is to get them not only to go into the teaching profession, but once they get there, to stay, because it can be discouraging and it can be hard at times, but every job is like that. And I think that's a huge challenge that I see. The young people come in, but they don't always stay. And to get them to stay would be wonderful.
You automatically become the spokesperson representative for education and for St. Lucie West Centennial High School with your selection as Teacher of the Year. What's your message?
My message to the teachers at Centennial?
To anyone that you may have to speak with.
That teaching isn't just a profession. Teaching is a lifestyle. It's a life choice, and we never stop teaching. And every student is special, and every student deserves to be listened to, and every student deserves to succeed, and that we need to put forth everything we can to give to these students who are going to be the leaders in the future.
So let's close with me sharing the words of Alexander Trenfor with you. He said, "The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see." Thank you for showing those students where to look and helping them see what's all available to them in their bright future. Ms. Popwell, thank you for joining. Ms. Lewis, congratulations on your selection, and it's a privilege and honor to celebrate you.
Thank you.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids.
What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
It's our pleasure to welcome the dynamic Bridget Austin to our show. She is the wonderful Teacher of the Year from Pointe Educational Research Center. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
She's brought along with her my dear friend Kathy Perez, who's a dynamic principal. Welcome, Ms. Perez.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Ladies, it's always an honor for us to be able to film this show, because it gives us a chance to honor and to celebrate and recognize teachers and teaching, the profession that we all love so dear. Miss Austin, because many of our viewers don't know you, would you briefly introduce yourself for me, please?
I'm Bridget Austin. I work at Pointe. I went to Indian River State College, where I got my bachelor's degree in special education. And then I had the wonderful opportunity to start my first year at Pointe with Ms. Perez, where I taught 4th grade, and I learned so much in that position. And then I moved to the position that I'm currently in, which is teaching students in grades 3 through 6 in a self-contained ASD classroom.
Awesome. Ms. Perez, would you briefly introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. I'm Kathleen Perez. I'm the proud principal of Pointe, and this is my 30th year in education. And I've spent 18 years in the classroom in various different schools in St. Lucie County, and I've spent the last 12 years at Pointe, 6 years as the assistant principal and 6 years as the principal of the school, and that's when Ms. Austin joined us.
Awesome. So, Ms. Austin, why did you choose teaching as a profession?
I always wanted to be a teacher. I can remember being a small child and sitting on the patio with my brother and sister, and we would play school, and I would always want to be the teacher. It was just something that was always there for me. And then as I got older, my mom worked with students with special needs, and it just kind of showed me that I had more of a passion towards that area of working with kids. When I was in high school, I had the opportunity to volunteer some of my time in a special needs classroom where I truly started to see that that's definitely something I wanted to be involved in. And I just knew that there was nothing else out there for me other than teaching and working with students.
So you told me that you attended Indian River State College for your degree. Are you a native?
Yes, I am. I grew up in St. Lucie County.
And graduated from what school?
I graduated from Martin County High School.
Okay.
I went to elementary school in St. Lucie County. I went to Village Green, and then I went to Lincoln Park Academy in middle school, and then my family made a move over to Stewart, so that's where I finished.
Cool, close enough. You're one of us. You're one of us.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So when you think about your teaching career and knowing that you always wanted to be an educator, do you think there's a teacher that might have inspired you or that you may pattern your delivery after?
Absolutely. There are so many wonderful teachers I had growing up that stick out to me. But as I got older and started spending my time volunteering with students with disabilities, Miss Connie Dane was a teacher at Martin County High School who worked with the special needs students, and her passion and her love and her dedication just fueled me with this energy of that's what I want to do. I want to feel that every day. I want to be somebody like her, and she gave me that drive to want to be in special education.
So Ms. Perez, each and every day you get to witness the magic happen in Ms. Austin's room. Tell us, give us a peek into her room each day.
Well, you used the word magic, and I honestly was going to say that her room is a magical place. I was in her room this morning. Her room, her environment is warm and welcoming. Her class is magical. Her students are engaged. Her kids are excited about being in the room, and that's because of what she has designed within her classroom. Kids are engaged, they're excited. When one of them had, that spark goes off because they got something, there's this community, a sense of a community within the room where the kids will cheer each other on, and she's just created this great environment with both, many times she has her kids working in small groups, so she has her team in her classroom working, each of them working with different groups of students on their individual goals. It's just an amazing place. It's, our kids with special needs need a teacher like Miss Austin, and it's just a great place to be.
Kids need teachers like Miss Austin. Mm-hmm. Describe her for us using 3 adjectives and tell us why those 3.
Okay, so this was hard. I had to think really hard about some good words from Bridget because there's so many of them, but I think dedicated is one. It's a common word, but not for her. She, when you are a teacher of students with autism, you have many different grade levels of students within your classroom. Not only grade levels, but different levels, different abilities, and different needs. She spends countless hours preparing for these kids who she loves. And, for example, this year she's working on tracking student progress in the class, and students each have their own individual IEP goals. So all of her kids know their goals, and she incorporates this into daily checks for understanding. Her kids track how they're doing on their individual goals, and this is something that not only has she implemented in her class this year, but as the team leader within her group, she's shared this with her other colleagues who teach our students with autism, and so it's kind of just gone beyond her classroom. So that's dedicated. The second word, passionate. I mean, I don't know a more passionate person than Miss Austin. When our students were on virtual learning last year, that was particularly hard for our students with special needs. She went above and beyond for her kids, making home visits every week on Saturdays, and I know the parents said how much their kids looked forward to the opportunity, when Miss Austin was going to come visit them on Saturdays. And she just does whatever it takes for her kids. And I guess the last word would be perseverant. I had to make it an adjective. And there's never, ever, ever I just feel like you're always striving for something more for your children, and that's a unique quality to have. She's never satisfied, but she always wants them to have not only typical experiences, but to push them beyond what their goals are, and to have, school be the very best place that, the best part of their day. And that's what she does for her kids every day.
Miss Austin, when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I mean, I fall in love with my students every day, but just that, during student teaching, of course, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I had the opportunity to work as a paraprofessional when I was putting myself through college, and I just loved that job so much. I just loved coming in every day and working with the students and learning from them and from the wonderful educators that were around me, and I knew that was the right spot, and that it just gave me that passion and drive to keep going to school, keep working towards that goal. And there's often times that I sit in that classroom before school starts and at the end of the day, and I just think, and I look at the room and I think I just have the most wonderful job in the whole world. I'm very lucky.
Ms. Perez, what makes Ms. Austin the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
She's who you want your child to have as a teacher. And especially with our students with significant disabilities, I mean, she goes above and beyond to provide them experiences. They have Fluency Fridays. She does escape rooms for them. They've created this amazing classroom garden, and she teaches them life skills, and they cook from the things that they harvest from their garden. I mean, she's everything that you would want a child to have in a classroom. And not only is she preparing, she's really focused on each child's individual needs, and that's just a gift. This isn't a job for her, this is a calling, and that's what we would hope for every teacher in every classroom, for every student.
Ms. Austin, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing educators today?
It's a great question. I think that right now, with COVID and all the time that we have students, unfortunately, are out of the classroom at times, be it that they have to be quarantined, maybe they were ill or someone in their family is ill, we lose that time in the classroom with them, and we have to do everything in our power to help keep them where they're at and where they're learning, so that they don't lose any of the success that they have gained in their learning path.
Your selection as Teacher of the Year automatically makes you the ambassador for education. We would call on you many times to share with our community. What's your message?
That would be such a great and amazing honor. I would love to represent St. Lucie County in that capacity. I think I just want to bring my passion and love for teaching and share that, but also the message of St. Lucie County that I feel so strongly about, and that is the one to educate all students, no matter their needs, that all students receive an education.
Let me leave you with these words then. Teachers leave footprints on the souls of children. Thank you for the wonderful work you're doing with your 3 through 5 students every day. Ms. Perez, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to celebrate you and your recognition as the Teacher of the Year for Pointe Educational Research Center.
Thank you.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
It's our pleasure to welcome to our show at this time the fantastic Dr. Shannon Rennaker, who's the Teacher of the Year for Southern Oaks Middle School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. It is my pleasure.
She's brought along with her the proud principal, Dr. John Leslie from Southern Oaks. Dr. Leslie, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Perry.
It is a pleasure to have both of you join us. I'd like to start by saying to everyone how excited we are each year when we get to do this show because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate, to highlight, and to recognize teachers and teaching. With that being said, I'm going to ask that you start out by introducing yourself to our viewers so that they'll just know just a little bit about who you are.
Thank you. My name is Shannon Rennaker. I have been with St. Lucie Schools since 2016. I've been teaching since 2000, and I'm one of those people that you would consider an accidental teacher. I had my bachelor's in communication arts from Hannibal LaGrange College in Hannibal, Missouri, and I taught, I did not teach yet. I went on to work in an advertising business, and I worked in the theater. My degree encompassed theater in Branson, Missouri. You may or may not have heard of Branson, Missouri. I had a friend who asked me, would you help me out? I need a teacher. All you need is a bachelor's degree. Okay, what am I doing? Teaching in the evenings, adult basic education. And I took her on. I started teaching part-time in the evenings and teaching in the day as a para and learning from great teachers around me in elementary school. And I went to a meeting with my principal, and she says, we're gonna have a data meeting. I need you to sit and take notes. What is this? I'm not a secretary. What are you talking about? And in that moment, I was like, this is what I love. I love numbers and I love children. And at that moment, I was like, what can I do to be a teacher without having to get a bachelor's degree again, because I had just finished 2 years ago. And I went on to get my master's of education while earning my certification from William Woods University in Fulton, Missouri, my hometown. And I taught, I kept teaching, and in a 7-year period, I continued to work on my specialist in education for administration and my doctorate for educational leadership. And here I am, an accidental teacher.
So who are some of those fantastic teachers that motivated you when you were doing that para work?
When I've always been hesitant about education at that point in my life because of the experiences that I had. And I was really looking through a different lens, first working with a 5th grade science teacher, even though that's not really my area, but just watching her, how she connected with those children and was able to engage them and make them feel like they were so important. That teacher, she's no longer with us, but she just showed me what it was to be a great teacher, to get all the negative out of your head, and that's what you need to be as a great teacher.
Dr. Leslie, introduce yourself to our viewers and let them know a little bit about who you are.
I am Dr. John Leslie. My story is similar. I am guess this is my 3rd career. I was in the military from graduating high school. Went back upon exiting the military, went back to college for my dream, which was to work in a research laboratory. So I did that for a number of years, and then I decided I was bored. My mother had always said, you should become a teacher. Why don't you think about it? And I told her never. But here I am also. So I fell in love with the teaching profession once I started with an after-school program. Joined St. Lucie County, and I've had my whole career here. And it's been a wonderful career.
Dr. Rennaker, what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching is planning. It's 2 steps, planning and thinking about everything that a child, a student might ask me, and being prepared to have the answer for them, have them be able to help them get through it. And then the next part of that is watching kids teach each other after I've taught them how to do it.
So when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I fell in love with teaching my 3rd year of teaching. I was teaching high school English. I primarily spent my years 6 through 12 as an English teacher. And I realized while I was driving to work that I was super excited to get there. and to share the lesson that I had created with my students. And I was just, I still remember this moment, driving along and just being like, I love life right now.
So Dr. Leslie, you have the opportunity to visit and watch what happens in Dr. Rennaker's class every day. Give us a peek inside that window.
Sure, Dr. Perry. So it's fascinating to visit Dr. Rennaker's classroom because upon entering, you immediately notice students grappling with the content, which is exactly what we want to see as evaluators and administration when we walk into a classroom. So walking in, she has students that are grappling with concepts dealing with her standards. As she's walking around the room, she's stopping, having short conversations with students, helping them a little bit waddle through some of the content. But at the same time, when she leaves, the uniqueness about Dr. Rennaker is that she poses another challenging question, which further causes them to grapple with more content. So it's a continuing cycle of grapple. I'm going to help you a little bit. Grapple. Oh, okay, I understand a little. Grapple. I'm going to help you a little bit. So it's a very fascinating thing to watch.
Take 3 adjectives and describe her for us.
Energetic, passionate, resilient.
Tell us why. Energetic, passionate, and resilient.
Dr. Rennaker.
You knew that was coming, Dr.
I did
Leslie.
know it was coming, Dr. Perry. So I'll tell a little bit of, that's why she's laughing. Dr. Rennaker is always thinking on her feet. So even at night, I receive emails all the way up. She knows I stay up late. So all the way up to 11 o'clock, I receive an email where she is thinking about something on campus and something she's noticed that she wants to change or an area she wants to get involved with. She is passionate, of course, because she loves her students and her profession, which she just spoke about that just earlier. And she's very resilient because no matter what I ask her to do or what comes her way, she's right on it. I mean, she with no hesitation and with a smile on her face, just as we are here today.
Dr. Rennaker, share with me what you think is the biggest challenge facing education today.
Without a doubt, the biggest challenge for us as educators is trying to figure out how to get around the COVID slide. We already had our students who were struggling, and then we all know what happened. They lost their good time with their teachers, face to face. And it's just us figuring out, okay, the world has changed, our children are different, we're different, and how are we going to get through this, not past it, we have to go through it and help these kids be where they need to be.
So Dr. Leslie, what makes Dr. Shannon Rennaker the perfect candidate for this honor?
Dr. Shannon Rennaker embodies what we would think about when we think about Teacher of the Year. When we think about that title, we think of someone who is continuously mastering content, not only for students, but also for teachers. So this is a teacher leader on campus. This is someone who students look up to, and not just someone who they feel they have to go to the class, or it's a boring class, I just have to get through it, but someone who they believe is going to lead them and guide them in a proper direction. So that is true for Dr. Rennaker because she is not only one of our great teachers on campus, but because of her skill set and love for teachers and adults as well, she is now our instructional coach. So for that reason, she bridges herself, which she also still goes to the classroom, I might add. Probably shouldn't say that, but she does. So she causes or creates that bridge where she's not only servicing the students, but she's also making sure that adults have what they need to continue to perpetuate the cycle of learning in classrooms.
So Dr. Rennaker, let's wrap it up. Your selection as a Teacher of the Year for Southern Oaks Middle School automatically makes you the ambassador, the spokesperson, the representative for education there. You'd have an opportunity to speak to many different people about our profession. What's your message?
It is definitely my honor that my school chose me to represent them and in the district, in a sense. something that I like to get across every day to the people I work with and to the students that I work with, parents and community, is that we need to remember that education is for the children. It's about the children, and all the decisions need to be made for them, not about the adults, but for the children.
So let me leave you with the words of Robert Frost, because this is what I see from the picture that has been painted, the type of person that you are. He said, "I am not a teacher, but an awakener." So thank you for awakening the wonderful lives of those students, those teachers that you're working with, to make their lives and their learning and their studying just a little better as they prepare to take on and lead our world. Dr. Leslie, thank you for joining us. Dr. Rennaker, again, congratulations on your selection as a Teacher of the Year, and it is our pleasure to be able to celebrate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So we were walking to school. I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope we
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Please give a hand and help us welcome to our Teacher of the Year celebration, Miss Heydys Sanchez, the awesome Teacher of the Year for Mariposa Elementary School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. She's brought along my very dear longtime friend, the wonderful principal over at Mariposa, Jane Whitaker. Jane, welcome.
Great to see you.
It's kind of funny, okay, with me having you on this side of the camera with me, okay? But we're going to celebrate you. This is we're always excited when we have a chance to do this show, because it gives us in the district an opportunity to recognize our colleagues, recognize teaching, to recognize teachers, and to celebrate the profession that we love so dear.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With that said, I'll ask you to briefly introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay. So, well, my name is Heydys Sanchez, and I have the privilege to teach third grade in Mariposa Elementary.
And what school did you attend, and what was your major, Ms. Sanchez?
I graduated from the Indian River State College. My major was exceptional student education. So then I decided that I wanted to pursue the K-6 certification. So I kind of did like an independent self-study, and I did my certification. Then I attended Nova Southeastern University when I decided to do my master's. So I went for master's in teaching and learning in the with the focus of STEM education.
Oh, STEM education, awesome. So, Ms. Whitaker, would you introduce yourself too, please?
Sure, I'm Jane Whitaker, and I serve as the first year, this is my first year as principal at Mariposa Elementary, and having a great start of my first experience as an administrator and working alongside Ms. Sanchez. I was a music teacher here in St. Lucie County for about 17 years. You and I go way back
yes,
as
we
far
do.
as those arts things.
Exciting, yes.
And then I taught at Allapattah, Village Green, and Fairlawn for a few years, and then headed to talent development here at district office, and then curriculum, and then had the privilege of working with the Magnet Schools program as the MSAP coordinator for a few years, and now just headed to Mariposa and loving the start of our first year.
So Ms. Sanchez, why did you choose teaching as a profession?
Okay, so that comes a long way back, because I was born in Cuba, and my grandma was a teacher. So there was a time where it was a countrywide call for volunteer teachers to teach adults to read and write and do basic computation. So she signed up, and then that was a nighttime. So she would, I would help along with her. And I loved it. I saw her dedication and her passion. Now, teaching adults is not as teaching children. It's a little bit more challenging. But she was always so passionate.
So when you think about your grandma and the way you talk about it, it sounds as if she's your inspiration. What was it that she did, or how do you use what you learned from her every day in your instruction?
So what I got from her was her perseverance. Because you have to understand, it was It was a time where it was not many resources. And, you know, adults were tired and they were coming from work, but she never gave up on them. So I think at that moment I decided that that's what I wanted to do. And that was what inspired me the most. Like, she was always persevering and never gave up on them.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
I have two parts.
Okay.
Can I tell you?
Yes, you can.
Well, one is when my students take the lead. And I just sit back and I see them how they teach, and they copy me and they imitate my behaviors, and they, you know, learn from one another. That's one. And the other one is when I get to teach my small groups or my one-on-one, because that's when their brains actually get visible to me. And I can just see exactly what they need. And that's what I enjoy the most.
So, Ms. Whitaker, you have the opportunity to peek into that classroom every day. Give us a first-hand look into that classroom. Tell us what you see, hear, and feel.
Well, I need more than just the few minutes that we have, because it really, truly is amazing. And just listening to her speak about her grandmother, she truly has modeled after her grandma, and just that perseverance and the belief in the kids, because she never gives up on a single child. And the last time I got to go in and actually sit and, you know, observe for a few minutes, the kids were up in the front actually acting as the teacher, taking the role as the teacher and guiding each other through the lesson and the kind of the check for understanding. And they would talk to each other, they had great conversation, and it's so student-centered, and that's what really makes the difference. And the positive atmosphere that she creates in her classroom is just amazing, and just really sets the tone for the day every day. And but when you see that student interaction with her, the relationships that she's built, not just her directly with the students, but the relationships that she has really facilitated between student to student, and it just carries over to everyone. And the role model, you know, that she has set, you know, in serving as a mentor and, you know, giving other people a chance to learn from her has just been amazing. So it truly is an impactful classroom, and, you know, definitely merits this award this year.
So with that being said, describe Ms. Sanchez for us with only 3 adjectives. I knew I needed to get that
Only
in.
three.
Only 3.
Only 3. The first one I would say is passionate. She's very passionate about what she does. It's truly clear every day that you see her in action that she loves what she does. And when she comes to school, it's about the kids, and it's about making a difference. And you see that passion every day. And the other one is dedication. And whatever it takes, she's always offering. You know, we'll share something about a workshop or a session that's coming up, and she is always the first one to volunteer to be a part of that training. I want to learn more. I want to be able to bring more to my kids. And so that piece of it truly just speaks for itself. And then the other one is inspiring. Because she truly inspires everyone around her to be better. And, you know, she's serving as a mentor to a brand new teacher to our school, and just the relationship that she's built with her and the impact that she has with her team truly inspires everyone that's around her to be better than they are.
So, Ms. Sanchez, you're the first one to volunteer. You want to learn more. Not only are you teaching everything that you have to do every day, you're also mentoring. What drives you?
I mean, I think that what drives me the most is the desire to help others, like give more. I feel like the soul of being an educator is just like share ideas and being able to offer that help and that experience that you have gained over the years. And it really makes the difference, making the difference. So, in the setting, in your workplace and your community.
So, Ms. Whitaker, what makes Ms. Sanchez the perfect candidate for this honor?
So when you think about Teacher of the Year, you think about someone, again, just like she talked about, is somebody that inspires and that makes a difference every day. looks for innovative ways. They're never okay with okay. And you know, when you think about also the Teacher of the Year is a person that models what St. Lucie Public Schools stands for. You know, we stand for excellence, and this is a person who really strives for excellence, is always looking for innovative ideas, innovative ways to meet the needs of every child every day, and never stops at trying to impact others. And so it's beyond those four walls of her classroom. It's much more about how she can impact others beyond our school, into the community, throughout our district. And you know, I have no doubt that if she's selected for the Teacher of the Year, that she will represent St. Lucie County in an amazing way. And you know, what she brings to this award and to this nomination is well deserved.
So, Ms. Sanchez, with everything that you know and all that you've had to experience, your growth, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing education today?
I think that the biggest challenge that we're facing today is closing the gap that was already big for some students. And with this loss of education, so to speak, you know, all this pandemic, the challenge that we are facing is bringing those students back inside the classroom, having them form those learning habits, again, being self-conscious and aware of their needs and where they are right now and where we need them to be. And we have to be assertive, we have to be effective, we have to find a way to have the students feel that they can succeed in, you know, no matter what the challenge, education and you know, what they have been through the past year with this pandemic.
So you are the ambassador, the spokesperson, the representative for education at Mariposa. Guests are arriving and you have to speak about our wonderful profession. What's your message?
My message to all the students, the parents, the community is that we need to persevere and we need to share ideas, we need to collaborate. We are on a way in our society where we need to work together and we can't give up on each other. We need to keep on working together and cooperating for a common goal.
Ever Garrison said, a teacher is a compass that activates the magnets of curiosity, knowledge, and wisdom in the pupils. And I hear that's what you're doing every day at Mariposa. Ms. Whitaker, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Sanchez, on your
so
selection
much.
as the Teacher of the Year. It is a pleasure for us to be able to celebrate you.
It is an honor for me to be here as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me
And me.
help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Please join us as we welcome the wonderful Melanie Nieves to our show as we celebrate her selection as the Teacher of the Year at Northport K-8 School. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And she's brought along with her the proud principal, Mr. Glenn Rustay.
Good afternoon.
It is a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak with you, so let's jump right in and have you introduce yourself to some of our viewers.
All right. My name is Melody Nieves. I am an educator, first and foremost. I began my teaching in New York. I studied at Queens College, City University of New York. I got my bachelor's and master's in education with a specialization in children's literature. And I've recently secured a second master's in ed leadership, in case that's something I would like to pursue in the future. This is my 22nd year teaching, and every year is different.
So why did you choose teaching as a profession?
I've always wanted to work with children. Babysitting was my first job and tutored the neighborhood children, and I had lots of little cousins. And I used to, funny story, right? My mom had a blender, an old blender from the 70s. It was yellow, and I used to type on it. And I used to tell her that I was typing out work for my kids to do, right? So she still has that blender. Got a Ninja for Christmas, but she still has that blender. But I used to play school all the time, and I just was interested in kids, and they would take to me too. It was always something I knew I wanted to do.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching has to be just building relationships, just really getting to know kids and having them trust you and be willing to take risks. And I love when the light bulb goes on and they get what I've taught them. I love that. But knowing that they trust me and they know that they have an adult that's an advocate for them is the greatest reward for me.
So, Mr. Rustay, please introduce yourself to our viewers as well.
Well, hello there. I am the principal at Northport, proud principal at Northport K-8. This is my 30th year in St. Lucie County and my 13th year at Northport, and I was previous to that Port St. Lucie Elementary as the assistant principal, and then at Garden City for 10 years as the teacher.
So you have the opportunity to step into Ms. Nieves' room every day. Tell us what it is that you see. Give us a peek.
Ms. Nieves, when she was in the classroom, it was phenomenal. You would walk in there, the excitement, the joy. The kids loved her, she loved the kids, the relationships that were built, and it was just really, you're stepping into her world that she created with her kids. And it was a phenomenal experience where the kids were very successful. She was very successful, and which is why I kept on asking her to become a coach. And she is now an instructional coach, and she is teaching other teachers how to do that, and has been a really great leader at Northport for us.
So describe her, Mr. Rustay, using 3 adjectives, and tell us why those 3.
Well, the first one would be caring. She has always built all of her success has been built around the students and really caring and the relationship she builds with those students. And so caring would definitely be one. Successful, anything she puts her mind to, it's going to be done, and it's going to be done at a top level, and it's going to be successful, and no matter what it takes. Then I really think that would be goes along with the perseverance. She's very determined, perseverant, and she's going to find a way to whatever the student needs, she's going to find a way to make that happen and make that really a part of that student's success and therefore her success.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
I have, 100% absolutely. I worked in a law office for a little while when I was going through school, and my boss wanted me to go into law, and he even offered me part of the practice, and nope, I'm going to be a teacher. It's what I've always wanted to do.
So when did you first fall in love with teaching?
I can't remember wanting to do anything else, but my little brother, he was 11 years my junior, so it was just, I would say, at 11 for sure. I was with him and his friends and tutoring them and just taking a liking to building those relationships and seeing the way that they would look for my approval or look for my input on their assignments and such. That was probably when it was solidified for me.
So, Mr. Rustay, what makes Ms. Nieves the perfect candidate for this honor?
She's an excellent example of the quality of teachers that we have at Northport. She exemplifies success, but it's through those relationships that she builds with the students and with the teachers. She builds very positive at all times, and the relationships she builds are, you want to do what it takes to be successful and to work with her, and it just really is. She's a great example of leadership, success, and just the strength of relationships and the power of relationships with students and teachers.
Ms. Nieves, what drives you, what fuels you today?
I would have to say having a heart of service, really, truly. So serving a servant's heart for my students, a servant's heart for their families, for my colleagues, for administration. It's really just wanting to serve in whatever capacity I've been in. So in the classroom, it was serving my kids and their parents. As a coach, it's whatever the teachers need, whatever the teams need to be successful. It's just, it really is my fuel. It fuels my passion. It's just wanting to serve however I can.
So what do you see as the biggest challenge, the greatest challenge facing education today?
There are so many, right? There are so many.
So many.
There are so many. I think it's societal pressures that we have on ourselves just because of what's happening in the nation, internationally, just this pandemic. I would love to not talk about it, but that's the reality. People are just different. Everything is just different. The profession's the same, but people's responses are different. And I think teaching people how to work through that, students and adults, teaching ourselves how to persevere through that and how to celebrate what's going right, because there's so much around us that seems negative, right? So I just think it's pushing through, it's persevering and making sure that we are focusing on the little things that are going right, that over time will add up to close those gaps and make those gains.
So, Mr. Rusty, is there anything else that you want to share about this fantastic teacher?
Boy, it would take me a long time to finish. I had the opportunity to hire Miss Nieves 18 years ago from New York, and when she came down, she immediately fit in and immediately showed her leadership qualities. Just very proud of what she has accomplished and the teacher that she has become and the coach that she has become. You know, it took me a little while to persuade her to go into coaching, and she is just really taken that on. It's just a funny anecdote is that one of her biggest concerns was the larger kids. She was a kindergarten teacher. She's like, I don't know about the larger kids, and you know, and we had several conversations, and I explained to her how I really loved the middle school, and I think she would too. And you can hardly get her away from the middle school now. You know, and so it just tells she's going to make whatever it is work. When she was anxious about that, she said, "Okay, let's do this," and she's just embraced it and embraced the students, embraced the teachers, and again is a wonderful example of the quality of teacher we have at Northport.
So, Ms. Nieves, let's wrap it up by saying to you that you are automatically the ambassador for education at Northport K-8 School. Your selection as the Teacher of the Year makes you that. Many times you'll be asked to speak or talk to someone that may visit the campus. What's your message?
I think that my message is, in visiting Northport, you'll see the family is just becoming part of the family and inviting people to our campus to see what they see. And we don't have the newest campus of all, and that's a fact, but we do have a lot of love and a lot of family history, and there's a culture that's built there that I would want to welcome our new teachers to be part of. And I have had the opportunity to mentor many teachers and just welcome them into the family, and I really just want to be that person for them, someone that they can connect to, someone that they can call on and welcome them in, and that's what we try to do.
So we'll close with the words of Gerald Belcher when he said, "The best education is not given to students, it is drawn out of them." And that's what a coach does, helps draw the best out of the people that she's working with. Mr. Rusty, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your selection as a Teacher of the Year.
Much.
It's great for us to be able to celebrate you.
Thank you, sir.
Sweetheart, think about your future. Jeff over there did, and just look at him. He saved up, bought a house, he's got a beautiful wife, they even had a fancy pants destination wedding, and oh, they had a baby! Ah! Smart and handsome, ooh la la. Now, I've been saving these frames for pictures of my future grandbabies for years, and the shopping sprees on organic clothing and telephone cases is not helping you save for a family. Oh, gracious! Look at that! He's a model! Oh. I bet you he's putting all that money right into a 401k or his baby's college fund. And his teeth are so straight. See how good saving can look at feedthepig.org. Feed the pig.
Hello, and it is our pleasure to welcome to our show at this time the fantastic Miss Heather Knab, who's the awesome Teacher of the Year over at Windmill Point Elementary School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
Joining her is that fantastic principal, Miss Bree Lamb from Windmill Point also. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Ladies, we get excited every time we do this show, and I start off every conversation this way because it gives us the opportunity to celebrate teaching and to celebrate teachers, and our wonderful profession, the one that we love, and we get to share it with all of our viewers. So, Ms. Knab, at this time, I want to ask you to briefly introduce yourself to our awesome viewers.
My name is Heather Knab,
and this is my 8th year here in Port St. Lucie. I'm originally from the west coast of Florida, where I attended University of South Florida, Go Bulls. It's where I received my degree in elementary education, K through 6, and I received my master's also there in elementary reading, K through 12. This is my 18th year of teaching in some sort of capacity. I have been in the classroom for 7 years as a 3rd grade teacher. I worked when we moved over here, I was also in the classroom for a year, and I was a literacy coach for moving on to 9 years now, 9-10 years.
They all run together, don't they?
They do when you get up there in those double digits. And I also supported at the district level for a few years here over in St. Lucie County. So yes, it's been in education. It's just been reading, math, writing, social studies, science, all of it. So.
Why did you choose teaching as a profession?
I feel like teaching chose me. I didn't really, when I started my career in college career, I will say, education was not my first go. It was my mom actually who encouraged me to pursue that avenue. I actually started in social work my first 2 years, and then I transferred over into education with a little trepidation, but I moved forward, and obviously she was right, as mom is always right, and that's how I kind of got into it and started, was my mom. She was the one that encouraged me to move forward and to work with kids and to, help change their lives if you can.
So repeat after me, please.
Yes.
Thank you, Mom.
Yes, thank you, Mom.
Ms. Lamb, introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Perry. I am, as you know, my name is Bree Lamb, and I am the proud principal of Pointe Elementary. I consider us the best school in St. Lucie Public Schools. I'm sure other principals will argue, but I think I could have a valid point in winning that. I started here in St. Lucie Public Schools as actually a student. I went all through public schools here in St. Lucie County, so I'm a proud product of our county, and I went to college, to FAU, and then on to the American College of Education to receive my master's in education leadership.
And where did you graduate high school?
I actually graduated from John Carroll.
Okay.
However, for elementary, I went to Lawnwood, White City, and then I went on to Northport.
Product of St. Lucie Public Schools, St. Lucie County. That's what we love to hear. That's
absolutely
what we love to
the
hear. So, what's your favorite part of teaching?
There's so many. To narrow it down, honestly, not to be cliche, it's the students. It's really that my favorite part is seeing them every day, seeing them come in with their smiles. It's the teachers working together. It's the students learning, the students growing, achieving. It's just seeing their little faces. I get to be part of the morning welcoming committee every morning, so when I get to see them walk on campus, it's the students, really.
Is there someone that you can point to that inspired you along the way to be a teacher, or how you approach your work?
Yes, I think it's just there's so many people that have helped pave the path to where I am now. I think it would have to be one of my really good friends, Katie, who is still a 3rd grade teacher, and my girlfriend Nicole, who is a math coach. They are just two of the ones who just are there for the kids, who want all their students to do best. And I strive to model and to be like that, to be that person for the kids and the person for the teachers, and that person at Windmill Point if you need that. So it's really just those that keep the kids at the forefront, and that's what matters. And they tune out all the noise that goes around in our profession, and they're able to focus on what needs to be focused on, and the kids.
So, Ms. Lamb, you have an opportunity to take a peek into the world of Heather Knab every day and watch her work. Bring us into that room and let us see it too.
So, to see Heather work within our school, she's simply amazing. Simply amazing. I've had the opportunity to see her in several different capacities within our building. Being our reading coach, she wears many different hats. She's part of our leadership team. She's also part of our CLPs. She's part of promoting growth with our students, our teachers. But I will tell you, to get a real glimpse into what Heather's world looks like, I'll say, is to really see her when she's at her best, and that is with teachers and students. So when I push into collaborative planning and I see her facilitating, I see her building trust and relationships and allowing teachers to grow and learn professionally to become successful and to become the best they can be. And I would have to say that's something that Heather does very well, is bringing out the best in people. And I would say that's what I see in our teaching staff, from Heather being the facilitator and their guide and their mentor. From our students, she supports them in a way where she builds kindness and trust, again, to bring out their best. And where she finds her success is teachers and students' success. That's what she's very humble and kind, and she's the person who's standing at the back of the room and letting the student take that shine when they're successful. And that's where she finds her pride and joy, I believe.
So let me narrow it down a little bit and ask you to describe Ms. Knab using 3 adjectives and tell us why.
You know, Dr. Perry, I thought long and hard about this, about how could I possibly describe Heather Knab, and to narrow it down to 3, it's a challenge, but I would have to say her top 3, the very top one would have to be her selflessness. She's a very selfless person. She gives all that she can to her students, to her colleagues, to myself, to her family, and to her community. Heather is extremely selfless. So I would say selflessness is her top 1. If I had to pick 2 more, the next one I would say is she is a learner. She prides herself in staying abreast of what is the most current information and trend within teaching, to provide that same information and strategy and research to our teachers and to students. So she influences obviously a bunch of people at her school, both adults and children. And then if I had to say my 3rd one, I would say is, again, she's humble. Heather is extremely humble in the fact that she finds her success from allowing others to shine. Their success is hers.
So what drives you, Ms. Knab?
The students, the teachers, just what drives me is I'm a part of something that's bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm a part of a bigger aspect of a child's life. And the fact that my own son drives my passion to make sure that I look at all of those students at Windmill Pointe and across the district and they're all my Graysons. Grayson is my heart and my soul. And so those kids are my heart and my soul. So honestly, it's knowing that I have the opportunity and I'm blessed to be able to be part of something that's bigger than me and be able to do that is, it's priceless. It really is. I love what I do. I love being able to share that with the teachers and with the students and with everyone across the district that I know and that I'm able to work with and be a part of and to learn from myself. That's what drives me, is the fact that I have the opportunity. I've been given this opportunity and I don't want it to go to waste. So every single time I'm in a classroom where I'm working with a student, I need to make sure that I'm giving them everything that I would want my own child to have, because they are my children.
So what do you see as the greatest challenge facing education today?
I believe the greatest challenge is the outside noise that is with our profession now. Mm-hmm. I think it's important for us to realize that, you know, we do have stigmas in education and in our profession. And it's important for us to, as educators, and to be that person for those students, is to turn that noise down and to ignore the noise, and that we're there for the kids, and that we know what we're doing is right, and that what we have at our heart of hearts at Windmill Pointe Elementary and across St. Lucie is what's best for kids. And so I think the biggest challenge is getting past what others may think our profession needs, what others may think our profession is, what others may think that our profession does. Because at the heart of it, if you're in a building and you're starting from August to June, you know what goes on in there. And so I think just reminding my teachers that turn the noise down, and you do you, and we're going to do what's best for the kids, and we're going to get it done.
So your selection as Teacher of the Year automatically makes you their spokesperson for Windmill Pointe. What's your message?
My message would be back to my teachers, if I was their ambassador, is that what we do does matter. What we do on a day-to-day basis matters, and that I believe that the world needs to see that. They need to see that their teacher, their child's teacher, is taking work home to grade, is their child's counselor, is their child's nurse. They need to see the custodial staff out there working to keep our buildings clean and safe. Our lunchroom staff is providing the meals, our office staff, that we are one big family and we take care of one another. And I would like the teachers to know, what we do matters. You are making a difference. Whether or not the noise is too loud for you to hear it, you are making a difference.
Joseph Campbell said that the job of the educator is to teach students to see the vitality in themselves. And that's what you're doing every time you work with teachers, every time you work with students. You just brighten their world for them. Ms. Lamb, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Congratulations on your selection as the Teacher of the Year. It's an honor to be able to celebrate you.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.